Good evening. Families and staff affected by the planned closure of up to 12 Beals care homes are calling on the Scottish Government to take action. Campaigners gathered in Glasgow today to discuss the future of their loved ones. The Scottish Government says it's working with Beals to ensure residents' needs are being met. Laura Maxwell has more.
Campaigners travelled from all over central Scotland to this meeting as time runs out to save the closure-threatened homes. It's left many uncertain about the future.
Looking gorgeous.
One of them is 87-year-old Chrissy. Her granddaughter is leading the campaign to save her home.
It's really hard to put into words just how much of an impact this has had on her. She, as I've said, has dementia. She struggles to retain information, as will be the case for many of the residents of Beals. So for her to move on somewhere else with new staff, new surroundings, new neighbours is just unfathomable for her. It's just frightening, terrifying.
Last October, Beals announced it was pulling out of the business, throwing into doubt 12 units from the Borders to Fife. The company now says it's in advanced discussions about 4 of the homes and is hopeful they'll transfer to new providers. Campaigners now want the Scottish Government to step in to save the others before it's too late.
The truth of the matter is that some of the residents will die in terms of the trauma of the change of environment. They'll have to be reassessed. Some who were quite independent will end up in nursing homes, which is more expensive. And for the residents and their families, the implications of this are dramatic.
Many elderly residents have dementia and other complex medical conditions, making the cost of their care expensive. Beals' decision is the latest indicator of problems across the sector.
Increasingly, elderly care is provided by private providers, and that means therefore that it goes up and down with the fluctuations of the market. Way back in the 1980s, only 5% of homes were privately provided. Now it's 90% private or independent, so that creates massive instability.
The Health Secretary will meet management later this month to discuss progress. In the meantime, the families and staff who care for these elderly residents can only hope the homes can be saved. Laura Maxwell, reporting Scotland, Glasgow.
A 71-year-old man has died after running to help his wife, who was being robbed at a newsagent's in Saltcoats yesterday. The robber was armed with a knife and took a sum of money. The woman's husband heard about the robbery and ran to the shop, where he collapsed. Union leaders in Scotland are calling for a coordinated response across the UK to discuss the struggling construction company Carillion. The business is involved in several major projects here, including the Aberdeen bypass. The Unite Union says there are real concerns for up to 200 people employed on the ring road and fears that it is far from complete. On to sport, the Scottish FA will hold talks with Northern Ireland boss Michael ONeill next week with a view to him becoming the new Scotland manager. Gordon Strachan left in October. Jane Lewis reports.
Michael ONeill just missed out on guiding Northern Ireland to the World Cup in Russia this summer, and ever since then he's very much been on the SFA's radar. Now, negotiations have been ongoing between the SFA and Michael ONeill's representatives, but after a compensation package was agreed between the SFA and the Irish FA, it means that the Scottish Football Association can now actually sit down with their man and hold face-to-face talks.
He's done very, very well with Northern Ireland, with limited resources, it has to be said. A lot of people would say he's got some good players there, but I do feel that overall, in general, Scotland have a stronger squad of players, and that's why I think he'd be the ideal manager, because in terms of what he's done for Northern Ireland and the success he's had there, I think that Scotland requires someone that can achieve that.
While ONeill is attracting interest from the SFA, his current employees, the Irish FA, want him to remain as the manager of Northern Ireland. So much so, they've offered him a new contract worth more money than is likely to be on offer from the SFA.
Jane Lewis reporting there. In the Championship, leaders St Mirren won this afternoon, while their nearest challengers, Dunfermline and Dundee United, drew. And in the Great Edinburgh cross-country event, double European indoor champion Laura Muir led the Great Britain team to victory in the mixed team relay. Well, that's the news and sport. Now let's go over to Gillian for the weather outlook for tonight and tomorrow. How's it looking?
Sally, thank you. Good evening to you. Not too bad, actually. We've had quite a lot of cloud around today. It's been rather grey, courtesy of this weather front. Now, that's going nowhere fast, and it'll continue to bring some outbreaks of rain to the southwest, to parts of Stirlingshire, Perthshire and Argyll, but that tending to become lighter and patchier as the night goes on. Quite breezy, especially across the north. Winds touching gale force through the Minches, but at least with all that going on, we should stay frost-free. So tomorrow, some patchy rain to start the day, but it doesn't last long, and actually quite a lot of dry weather around tomorrow with a wee bit of brightness, especially in the southwest and in the northeast. And further south across the UK, a bit more scope for brightness tomorrow as well. That cloud tending to thin and break a wee bit more readily. But one thing you will notice is a strengthening south or southwesterly wind, gusting to 60 or 70 miles an hour for the Western Isles, the Northwest Highlands and the Northern Isles. And as we head into tomorrow evening, as that weather front works its way south and eastwards across the UK, the very strong winds go with it. And as Sunday turns into Monday, behind that weather front, a much colder feel. We're into a colder air mass, so you'll notice a very different feel to things across Scotland on Monday. For southeastern parts of the UK, still a wet and a windy start, but north of the border, it's a case of frequent blustery, wintry showers, increasingly wintry, even to low levels as we head through the day. And for Monday evening, a yellow be aware warning from the Met Office for snow showers and icy conditions that will last throughout the day on Tuesday. Cold and windy on Tuesday and not much above freezing. That's the forecast.
Well worn. Gillian, thank you. That's all from us this evening. Don't forget Politics Scotland tomorrow morning just after 11:30. Reporting Scotland is back tomorrow at 6:20. Until then, from everyone here, have a very good evening. Bye for now.